Hey everyone, this is Shobhit, and I am super excited to be here at Productized. Now, the title of today's presentation is How Do You Overcome the Victim Mindset to Transform into a Product Leader? And I'm going to tell you a bit about the background before I tell you about myself. So let's get going right away. Now, I want to begin with a story that I see, it's very typical. It happens all the time, which is that I see a product manager, a new product manager ready to take on the world with tons of enthusiasm and zeal. It's their time. That's how we begin. So, what do new product managers do? Well, they understand their role, the intersection of UX technology and business. That's where they are. They attend all the talks, whether it's Marty Kagan or whether it's David Cancel or Bruce McCarthy, Melissa Perry, so on and so forth. They are attending all these talks and getting inspired and ready to be an amazing product manager. And they read all the right books, inspired, so on and so forth. Dan Olson's amazing book, Lean Product Playbook. They're going for it. And they see their future bright as the CEO of the product. Somebody who's going to take the product from just an idea to an amazing product, achieve remarkable outcomes, be responsible for the vision, the strategy, for leading the team. It's all going to happen. And then the reality hits. Now, this is not the case for everyone, but consistently, I speak with product managers who tell me these things. And by the way, these are all paraphrased statements that I've heard directly from product managers. I spend too much time in customer escalations that should ideally be handled by tech support. I do too much tactical work and projects that don't have a huge revenue impact. I'm not satisfied with my job because of limited growth opportunities. And this often leaves me demotivated at work. I'm relatively new to this field, and my manager is a non-existent mentor. I'm afraid to speak up because I might come across as someone who's not an expert at technology. My peers are making a lot more money. I feel stagnant and I've started to question my self-worth. My friends who've been in similar roles have already gotten promoted. And I'm still stuck in the same place. Now, these are the statements I hear. But what is driving these statements? Ultimately, I believe that there's one thing that's at the core of driving these statements and the state where you're feeling like a victim, where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling like you don't have support. And that is comparison. Comparison. And there's three kinds of comparison that are happening. First of all, there's life comparisons. It is said that we often compare our life, our real life, to other people's Instagram life. Right? We look at the Instagram and, oh, they're on a beach and they're, having fun, fancy vacations. Well, maybe not in the times of COVID all the time, but still, they're doing cool stuff. And we are sitting at a desk and doing work. Now, what's wrong there is we are comparing our real life to their Instagram life. But it gets even worse. So I found this article that really expressed what I wanted to say, which is LinkedIn has become the best social network for self-loathing. So this is an article by Slate, really funny. I recommend you check it out. And here's a short list of things that makes us feel envious of others on LinkedIn. And the author gives some examples. Things such as people who are younger than us, but have cooler jobs than us. People who are older than us, but got an amazing job when they were younger than us. People who seem to get promoted every single year. Anyone who got a specific job that we applied for and didn't get, people who did years in one career and then switched without any kind of career gap, and just so on and so forth. So on and so forth. The list can go on and on. And so it's not just Instagram anymore. We're looking at LinkedIn, and I've seen consistently people, and in my past, me, look at LinkedIn, look at other people's profiles, and then just think, wow, what the hell are they doing? Why am I not there yet? And then the last but not least, the biggest one is that we are comparing our reality to the Marty Kagan reality. Now, I love Marty Kagan. He's done presentations at this very conference. I've read his book Inspired I don't know how many times. Just an amazing guy. Anything he writes on Silicon Valley, Product Group, the blog, worth following. And I've had some conversations with him where he told me all about different companies he's speaking to. Just he's one of the best speakers that is out there as far as product managers are concerned. But what's happening is when he describes things, it's often how things were run at some of the best places in the world. And a lot of the product managers that come to me, which have a victim mindset, they come and say, hey, Shobhit, I'm doing all these things. And I read Inspired and that's not how things are done. So what the hell am I doing wrong? I need to switch my job right away. So there's an ideal reality that Marty Kagan talks about often. And then there's the reality of most of us, which is filled with challenges. And what we're doing is we're comparing our reality filled with challenges, which are good, by the way, comparing it to the final outcomes of people, and it just seems that they're doing amazing stuff. So these three things drive you to the victim mindset. And if you spend enough time in comparison, what happens is you start to feel helpless. A statement that you might say is, I refuse to take a responsibility for changing my circumstances. That I've given up. I've seen that often. And one form of giving up is saying, you know what, my job is not going to work out. I need to switch to a new job because my company is awful. It doesn't know how to run product management. That happens really often. And sometimes it's the right call, but not always. So that's what happens when you spend enough time. And then the signs of a victim mindset are, first of all, you start believe that this will only get worse with time. Often I see people say, they utter the phrase, Shobhit, you don't understand. Look, I have coached at this point a couple of hundred product managers. And trust me when I say that I understand. I've seen enough challenges in my own life and in other product managers that I understand. So when somebody comes with me and says this statement, I know they are suffering from a victim mindset. They feel others are out to get me, as if like they have personal vendetta against me. And a small percentage of the time, that's absolutely true. But most of the time, it's in people's head. People stop to not see a way forward. They think they're not like a real product manager, not those amazing product managers. They have something inherently missing in them. And last but not least, the most common, people feel they're not really doing product management, or they're not doing real product management because, they didn't do all these vision statements. They didn't do all these things. So they're not really doing product management. Now, I believe there are 5 ingredients that help people go from a victim mindset to a leader mindset. And that's what really I'll be talking through during the rest of the talk. But know that once you start to incorporate these 5 ingredients, things start to really change dramatically. I've seen that happen consistently. You'll finally get the job satisfaction that you might have been missing for years. You'll be ready to boldly fight for what you believe is the right thing to do for your company and your team. You'll wake up each morning excited about going to work and making a difference. You'll make a stronger push for what you know is right and get rewarded by not just pure satisfaction, but by promotions, by the awesome jobs that you deserve. And I can say these things because look, I've been a product manager at Google. That's all good. But the other thing is that I've founded this coaching program called Intentional Product Manager, where I've coached hundreds of product managers towards achieving extraordinary results in their career. Whether you're at a startup or whether you're at a Facebook, a Google, I've coached all these folks and I've seen this work consistently in them. So these are the five chefs that, or the five ingredients that I'm going to talk about, which help people go from a victim mindset to a leader mindset and ultimately making changes in the very job they thought that they were completely stuck at, which was completely dead end, and transforming it completely. Or in some cases, starting to do better and then deciding they deserve a lot more and then going on to the next amazing opportunity. So let me walk you through those five ingredients. So here's number one, which is to reset your expectations. I'll explain what that means. So by reset expectations, what I find is that most product managers think that they are the only ones suffering from these issues. Even at a conference like Productized, we might often not even talk about some of these issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. We're all talking about, the how, the strategy, the like, oh, did you do, how are you doing interviews? What are you doing day to day? Like sort of those level of things. But we're not talking about these struggles. So what I want you to do is, first of all, reset your expectations about tactical work. Let me ask you, how much time do you spend on tactical work versus strategic work? Think about that for yourself. The fact of the matter is, most product managers, they're spending 70% of time on tactical work. If you're spending less than that, you're already ahead of most product managers I speak with. So first of all, reset expectations. Because look, we as product managers, we are responsible for the vision, the strategy, but we're also responsible for delivering on that product. So that means that, when things go wrong, you are the one who has to roll up their sleeves and get things done. Doesn't mean you go at it alone all the time, but ultimately you are responsible. So starting to reset expectations and even knowing that this is happening to other product managers and people are turning things around starts to make you feel like, yeah, I can do this. Even if things look bad right now, I can do this. The point is to to systematically reduce the time you spend, even if tons of tactical work was dumped on your plate. And that's really the question for you to answer and for you to start to change, which is, how do you systematically reduce the time on all the tactical work you're doing? I'll give you a clue, which is you can do it. I have never seen a situation where people can't do that. They don't eliminate it, but they reduce it. And that means a huge thing for their career. Even with PMs where I've helped them reduce, let's say, 4 hours, eliminate 4 hours of tactical work so they could focus on something strategic, that's like 200 hours a year. You can build all the vision and strategy in that time. So it's 100% possible. The other thing around this is really about taking responsibility for reducing the tactical work. One of the best quotes I've seen on this topic is by Patty Azzarello, who's amazing writer. She rose to be a really early career CEO at one of HP's divisions, and she says working on the most strategic stuff is hard, and it's actually easier to stay busy on the tactical stuff. So do question yourself. Are you doing the tactical work because it's easy, it's comfortable, it's something you can chalk quick wins on and then move on, question yourself. The reality is you were hired for impact. And don't assume in this case that just because you go to Facebook or Google that the tactical work will go away. At Google, I have to do the same things. I have to be incredibly mindful.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I have to be incredibly mindful of making sure that that I do the tactical work as much as required, but I'm also able to reduce it and tag team it and delegate it and do other things, just like somebody at a startup would. And by the way, the other thing that's relevant here is that very often people assume that just because you're at Google, you're just gonna keep getting promoted, keep getting promoted. The point is that you as a product manager, you're always in the shoes of a change agent. So if you've hired at a product that's already doing well and you just keep it going well, you're not going to get promoted or recognized. It's when you help it have a step change or get dramatically better than where it was already, that's really when you get to the next level. So you could do that at a product that's doing well, at a company that's doing well, or at a company that's not doing well and a product that's not doing well. It's the same thing. Awesome. So that was the first ingredient. The second ingredient is you have to run your job and not let your job run you. Now, if you just took this away from today's presentation and you at a soul deep level recognize that this is the game, this is what you have to master. You have to run your job and not let your job run you. You really got deep into it. It would have been really worth your time attending today's talk. Now, what I really see happening is most product managers are overwhelmed in the day-to-day tactical things. And that's all. They're not working on the strategic initiatives that move their company and career forward. And the thing is that yet they keep adding more stuff. Most people will tell you that you need to be there for your team all the time. Engineers ask you a question and you need to respond right away. Customer support tickets, they're urgent. You just got to take care of them. Otherwise, I don't know what will go wrong. And you have to do all these things, organize all user requests, answering any question, figure out the best way to send status reports. You get it. You get it. This is what you are expected to do. But the point is that I believe you can have a week with enough focused working time to do all the strategic things that you want. It's possible when you work on your mindset and get the courage to say no to people. This is not a how issue. There are enough things available on the World Wide Web that can tell you exactly how do you reduce tactical work and start doing more strategic work. There's not hard to figure out. It's the mindset that's at stake, because remember, it's easy to do the tactical work. So it's easy to keep adding more. Then you get into overwhelmed state and your job's running you and you're not running your job. So it's all about the mindset, the courage to say no to people, to get others to do the same things, to own your value as a strategist, as somebody who can drive the vision and not get stuck on the tactical. This ingredient's vital, by the way. So, I'm going to talk about other things next, but unless you are able to work towards not letting your job run you and starting to run your job, none of the other things would really matter. This is that important. And a very related ingredient to that is stop trying to please people. Okay, so this one's probably going to be the most controversial. So here's a fact. If you try to make all engineers happy, you end up with a product that's a collection of interesting engineering problems. If you try to make all stakeholders happy, then your product's just a collection of all the features that stakeholders want. And if you decide to make all customers happy, you'll never end up with the real strategy. Now, I know Everyone says be customer obsessed. But as a product manager, you're responsible for a product that delivers to the market and not to individual customers. So, are you able to withstand making a stakeholder unhappy in the short term, making an engineer not pleased in the short term, telling no to a customer? That's really a question for you. But you must get comfortable with the fact that to deliver a great product, you might have to let some people not be happy in the short term. Somebody I follow said once that I would rather that you love me in the long run than you like me right now. So even if you're pissed off at me right now, whatever, I know in the long run, when this product is successful, you will be behind me. And that's the frame that you need to come into your job with, which is for the long term, you're going to optimize for overall happiness of everyone rather than in every interaction you're trying to make everyone happy. This is fundamental. If you're unable to get comfortable with some ongoing tension with your team, your stakeholders, my claim is that you will never be an outstanding product manager, a product manager that made step changes in your product, in your company, and ultimately in your career. So you have to get enough clarity and confidence in what you're doing so that you can stay comfortable with the conflict. And all conflict's not bad. So you got to stay comfortable with it. The fact is that being a people pleaser sucks because if you are a people pleaser, you're constantly worried about what others think and stay awake mulling over it. Your confidence takes a nosedive and you don't take on the most courageous actions that will move you and your product forward. You lose momentum as soon as you encounter any resistance if you're a people pleaser. So the important thing is to work on your mindset. It's all about knowing and owning your self-worth. And it's not a one-time thing. It's about owning your contribution and role and not letting anyone make you doubt yourself. Look, when I work for myself and then with people I coach, I set up tried and tested daily routines that make them kill self-doubt and the desire to please people the moment it emerges. Now, I want to bring up a very important point here. Most people think that once they are successful, once they achieve certain things, that's when they will become confident. I'm here to tell you that you have to reverse that. You first have to become confident, and then everything else follows. Your success follows from it. In fact, if you read the book called High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard, the one thing he says at the end is the number one factor he found, which was not a habit, it was just an underlying factor, is that confidence is the most important thing. And you can create confidence. You don't have to achieve a whole bunch of things before you create confidence. So work on your mindset first, own your confidence, stop being a people pleaser, and that will lead to success. I'll give you an example. One of my students, Roberta, she said that, hey, it took a while to get to the point in my career where I don't need people to like me anymore. People love her, but she doesn't need them to like her in every single point. And her biggest aha working with me was that you're probably not doing a job right if everyone is happy with you all the time. That's what she wrote to me, and she realized that how much of her lack of confidence was stemming from the need for everyone to agree. So that, once she made the change, there were dramatic things move forward in her career. That's really what I hope you will also achieve. Awesome. Ingredient number 4, manage your career like a product. So what is this? Very simple. Look, most of us do everything asked of us in the hope that we will get recognition, right? We've been working hard and we expect recognition because of it. But what I see most product managers, they don't have a promotion roadmap. They don't have stakeholder alignment on their career strategy. They don't even communicate their achievements in a way such that they get credit for it, as if getting credit was bad. You know, I don't want to engage in politics. This is a lot of product managers tell me. But here's my question to you. My question is really, imagine you were responsible for a product, and it didn't have a great roadmap. It didn't have alignment in stakeholders. It didn't have a great marketing plan. Would you really be happy about that? You probably won't. So here's what happens. Once you start to manage your career like a product, just like you would manage the product, manage your career, apply the same principles. You're clear on what you need, what story you need to tell to get that promotion, that next move in your career, to just get recognized. You know what you need to work on to get your capabilities to the next level. That's a research and development you're doing. You know what sort of projects will help you demonstrate that you're an achieve amazing product manager. So think of these as features and benefits. And then you know how to win in the marketplace for exciting projects, for amazing roles, and to be honest, more compensation. All this happens when you start to manage your career like a product. You get promoted, you get raises as a byproduct for doing excellent work. You don't have to fight for it. You have stakeholders looking to get you promoted as they themselves rise to the next level. Very important point. Very often organizations promotions work in groups. One person moves up, and other people move up with them. So that's how it happens. And you get recruiters noticing you and reaching out to you for amazing roles outside your company once you're truly managing your career like a product, both inside and outside the company. I'll give you an example here. Again, one of my students, Shivank Rai. So he runs several products at Wayfair, helps them process 1 million applications annually. And he's led the development of their first internal career site, helping people enjoy better internal mobility opportunities. Now, when Shivank came to Intentional Product Manager, he felt directionless in the initiatives he was taking on. And he loved to say yes to others. Going back to pleasing people, definitely. So what Shivank really did was start to really figure out and manage his career as a product, where it was about what are the key things that I'm doing, the three main projects that are going to really help me stand out. How do I start to demonstrate and build a brand in the mind of my stakeholders? So, how do I behave? How do I show up in meetings? How do I run meetings? How do I send them updates? All those things he became a lot more intentional about. And then last but not least, where do I spend time? And, it was all a cycle. So once he was able to show a powerful brand for his stakeholders, he was able to gain their confidence and spend less time on tactical work. And then, it's a cycle. Now he's able to even work on the amazing projects that help him move forward, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, he started to move from a tactical product manager to a more strategic product manager, and is firmly running his job, not letting his workday run him. He got promoted as a result. Amazing things happened, all with the ingredient of managing your career like a product. And now the last ingredient, which is don't go at it alone. So this is probably one of the most important, which is like, what? You might think you can do it all yourself, and I have confidence you can. You can. You'll just be working a lot harder. So you don't have to. It's the hardest way to do things. So if you don't seek help, you'll continue to have less impact than you want. You'll earn less than your potential, and you'll envy other PMs whose careers are fast moving. You'll keep trying things that don't work. How happy you are in your job, the impact you're having, that's a question you should ask yourself. Because if you're not, you need a new mindset. You need a new plan. You need accountability. You need support. Just like, even, okay, LeBron James. I'm just throwing out some sports person. Do you think they need support? Well, why exactly does LeBron James have a coach? Or some of the best CEOs in the world, they have coaches. They don't publicize that, but they do. Um, so having a coach is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. So here's a question: if all these people need coaches, why don't you need a coach? And coaching is not the only way to get support. You could belong to a mastermind, a group that's helping each other, consistently meeting and talking, having deeper conversations, not just surface level ones. A coach, a mentor, have both, a group program, a friend, or all of these. I mean, as I invest in my career, both as a product manager and as a coach, I surround myself with support. I realized, I actually started that way too late. I should have started this much earlier. I would be probably much happier in life and much further ahead. So surround yourself with all the support you can get because you give back to them also and you just move faster through your career. Don't go at it alone. So today I promise you the 5 ingredients that will help you move from feeling like a victim at times to a leader who's just doing so much better in their career. And those 5 ingredients, just to recap, are: reset your expectations, run your job rather than letting your job run you, stop pleasing people, manage your career like a product, and don't go at it alone. Get support. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Shobhit, product manager at Google and CEO and founder of Intentional Product Manager. I would love to connect with you. Please look me up on LinkedIn or check out my website. And I look forward to chatting with all of you very, very soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the conference.